I joined the police force in 1961, 19 years and 4 months of age. I was in what was supposed to be the biggest class for many, many years. 141 men, 2 women. We had 28 days initial training because Easter was early that year. There was a shortage of police, so we were sworn in and put out to work with other police and learn the job on the job. As a general duty policeman, I was first on the scene. We were first called, irrespective of whether it was a motor vehicle accident or a murder, and the other police had come in later on if need be. I found the job very rewarding. I ended up being in for 21 years and 4 months. I was boarded out with a bad back in 1982. I had 2 serious car accidents in 3 days. I was at Richmond. Richmond was a fairly quiet sort of a town then on the outskirts of Sydney. There was only a dozen police there. We had 2 race courses in our area, so they had to be policed. That took 2 men to each race meeting. And on the 14th of June, I drove the 2 that were working at Hawkesbury races out to the races. And then I continued on to work around town. And just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, a fellow that I knew from the local tyre service come in and said that there was a drunken driver sitting outside the local hardware shop. As I got near him, he pulled away. So I had to do a U-turn, and I followed him up the main street to the other end of town, where I pulled him over. While I was talking to him, he hit the starter and took off on me. We ended up near the polo club, the back of the polo club, down on the flats at Richmond. It had been raining a lot, and Telstra had been working there, and the ground was soft and wet, so I managed to nudge him over and he got bogged. When he got out of the car, he had a sawn-off .22 attached to his shoulder under his coat. I didn't know at the time, but he was wanted for the armed hold-up of the Springwood Hotel the night before. He wanted my gun, and I said no, he couldn't have my gun, and I put it on the floor of the car. And he wanted me to get out of the car, so I felt no option but to get out of the car. And I moved to the back of the car, and we were standing the car widths away from one another. And he fired a shot from the sawn-off .22, which got me in the left calf. Then he said, run, get over in the field. I started to move over there, and he fired another shot, which got me in the right buttock. And he continued to fire, and the other 8 shots missed. The fellow that originally told me about him, Brian Chapman, he'd sort of followed me as best he could, but he stayed back near Pew's Lagoon, and then he called me to let me know that he was there. But I eventually got to him, and he drove me to Windsor to the hospital. I found out later that the lady came out from the polo club, and she was in a nice flash Fairlane car. He stopped her, forced her out of the car, took her car, drove out towards Penrith, and when he got to a little place called Yarramundi, he wanted to turn right to go up towards Springwood, but he was going too fast and he rolled the Fairlane. A man coming along thought he was doing the right thing and pulled up in his Volkswagen and wanted to assist, and the offender got in the car and pointed the gun at him. He said, "I've just shot a policeman. I've got no qualms in shooting you, drive." So they drove apparently up to Springwood. The Springwood police car started following him, and he fired a shot out of the back through the back window of the Volkswagen at Gavin Cleary, who was the policeman from Springwood. They continued to follow him all the way up to Hazelbrook, where they turned right opposite the Hazelbrook railway station, and they went to the end of that road. It was a dead-end street, and the driver of the car, he wanted to get rid of him, so he said, "Run, run, run." And he said, "Oh no, I'm not going to have him follow me through the bush and hound me down like a mongrel dog." So he then gave up, apparently. And this incident made the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald and the Daily Telegraph the next day. Because of the wet weather, I'd usually drove an old truck to work, and the truck wouldn't start that morning. So my wife drove me to work 4 o'clock in the afternoon when she came to pick me up. So I wasn't there, and somebody told her that I was over at the hospital. She made the assumption that I was attending to some incident, and once I was finished at the hospital, I was free to go home. And she said that she was looking for Constable Shute, but he said, "Oh, he's in there on the bed." So it was quite a shock for her. I was in hospital for a week, and during that week the rain continued, and we sat and watched the floodwaters rise over McGrath's Hill. And then I had to go for physiotherapy every day, and it was 6 weeks before I started back at work. I was awarded the Queen's Commendation for Brave Conduct, which was presented by Sir Odin Cutler at Government House. My wife sort of endured more than I endured, really. Every time I went to work, she wondered whether she was going to find me in a hospital. I was involved in a lot of incidents where, being on general duties, I was first on the scene, and even when I moved to traffic, I didn't stand back if I was near a job that was required extra police. I'd dive in and do it. I really enjoyed my work. It's a wonderful job. It's a really rewarding job. You go to work and you set foot in the car and you just don't know whether the next job's going to be a little car crash or a murder. And that's what makes it so interesting. I really enjoyed it, and I miss it, quite frankly. I'm 82 years of age. I've been out of the job for 41 years, and I still miss the aspects of it.